The mockery. The sniper's nest smelled of ozone and cold metal. The air was so still that even the dust motes floating in the shafts of light seemed afraid to move. 5 figures crouched in silence, each one draped in camo cloaks that bent light around their bodies. They were the best shooters the galaxy had ever known, legends whispered of in mercenary bars and military academies alike. And tonight they were laughing. "Have you heard the latest?" growled Rovak, the reptilian sharpshooter, his 3 eyes narrowing with smug amusement. "Apparently, they've sent a human to compete in the Invitational." The chamber erupted into harsh, overlapping chuckles. "A human?" sneered Valeth, her insectoid mandibles clicking in disbelief. "With their primitive eyes? With those weak hands? They'd need a scope the size of a battleship to even see a target." The largest of them, Corin, pounded a clawed fist on the steel floor, shaking the entire perch. "It's an insult to the title sniper. We calculate wind speed in microcurrents, adjust for stellar light refraction, shoot across planets if need be. And they bring a mammal that still hunts with sticks and rocks." Their laughter echoed through the chamber like artillery fire. But not all were amused. Sitting quietly in the corner was Tyvax, the youngest of the group, his rifle resting across his lap. Unlike the others, he wasn't laughing. He'd read the files. He'd seen the footage. And though it seemed absurd, he couldn't shake the unease curling in his gut. "Careful," Tyvax said finally. His voice was low, but it cut through their mockery like a blade. "Humans adapt. They improvise. There are records. Wars they fought where the numbers were against them, the weapons against them. Yet they still. Records written by humans themselves." Valeth snapped. "Exaggerations. My species once hunted them on their own world. I know what they are. Fragile, predictable, short-lived. Besides," Rovak hissed, leaning forward, "this isn't a war. It's a test of precision. And precision is something no human could ever understand." A low mechanical hum rolled through the air, silencing them. The doors at the far end of the hall slid open. The Overseer, a floating machine covered in sleek alloy plating, drifted into view. Its glowing red optics scanned the group before its voice rumbled, cold and unfeeling. "Competitors, today begins the first trial. Targets at 2,000 meters. No wind, no distractions, only skill." The snipers rose in unison, their cloaks flowing behind them. And then the human walked in. He was shorter than most of them expected, dressed in nothing but a simple gray tunic and trousers. No camo, no armor, no rifle slung across his back. Just a pouch strapped to his belt and something small, ridiculously small, in his right hand. It was a slingshot. The laughter began again, louder this time, rolling over the chamber like thunder. "You've got to be joking," Corin bellowed. "Is this entertainment? Some kind of circus act?" The human didn't react. He walked calmly to his station, his boots striking softly against the metal floor. His face gave away nothing. No fear, no arrogance, no sign he even registered their ridicule. Tyvax watched him carefully. The unease in his stomach twisted tighter. The Overseer's optics flared. "Take your positions." The 5 alien snipers settled into their nests, adjusting their rifles, scopes, and stabilizers. The human stood in the open, no cover, no tech, just his slingshot and a pouch of smooth steel pellets. "Targets released," the Overseer intoned. 1,000 tiny drones shot into the air, fanning out in complex patterns. Each one carried a blinking light, zigzagging randomly at 2,000 meters away. Rovak's eyes flickered as his scope locked onto a drone. His claw tapped the trigger. Crack. The drone exploded in a flash of sparks. The others fired in quick succession, each shot more precise than the last. In seconds, 5 drones had been destroyed with mechanical perfection. And then it was the human's turn. He raised the slingshot with calm, fluid precision. His hand drew back the band. There was no trembling, no wasted motion. His eyes narrowed, and for a moment, there was silence. Then, twang. The pellet flew, cutting the air like a razor. A drone, weaving in complex patterns, sparked violently and fell from the sky. The chamber went quiet. Valeth hissed softly. A lucky shot. But then the human fired again. Twang. Another drone fell. Twang. Another. His hands moved with terrifying rhythm, each motion faster than the last. His eyes never left the sky. The overseer's optics pulsed red as it processed the data. Correction. Human competitor registered a 100% accuracy rate. Projectile velocity manually compensated for wind variance and drone evasion patterns. No predictive system detected. Calculations, instinct-based. Instinct-based. Corin growled. His claws flexed against his rifle. Impossible. Yet they all saw it. The human wasn't just hitting the targets. He was reading them, anticipating movement, shooting not where the drone was, but where it would be. The overseer signaled. Phase 2. Moving targets at 3,000 meters. The snipers readied themselves, nerves taut. More drones launched into the air, this time faster, more erratic. The aliens' rifles roared, precision shots exploding the drones in bursts of light. They were flawless, yet slower than before. Each calculation, each adjustment of scope and trigger, cost precious milliseconds. The human didn't wait. His slingshot blurred. Twang, twang, twang. 3 drones fell in rapid succession. His movements were almost casual, like a child skipping stones across a pond. And then, the overseer's voice. Human competitor. Fastest recorded eliminations. Accuracy 100%. Efficiency unmatched. Silence. The laughter was gone. Rovak's throat vibrated with a low growl. This is a trick. Some kind of manipulation. But even as he said it, sweat glistened beneath his scales. Because deep down he knew. They all knew. This wasn't luck. This wasn't a trick. The human was doing the impossible, challenging the galaxy's greatest snipers with nothing more than a weapon of children. And worse, he was winning. Tyvax's unease grew heavier, turning into dread. He leaned toward Corin, voice barely above a whisper. They don't rely on tech, he said. They don't need it. Their instincts, their reflexes, you can't calculate that. Corin bared his fangs, rage burning behind his eyes. Then we'll see how their instincts fare in the final round. The overseer's optics glowed crimson. Phase 3, live fire. Targets eliminating each other. Last sniper standing wins. The snipers stiffened. This was no longer practice. This was war. And somewhere, deep in his bones, Tyvax felt the truth crash down like a hammer. The human hadn't brought a slingshot to a sniper duel. He'd brought it to a battlefield. And the galaxy's greatest sharpshooters were about to find out what it meant when a human stopped playing games. One shot echoes across the stars. The laughter didn't last. When the first stone cracked through the visor of Vexor's apprentice, an arrogant Sarnithian with 6 eyes and a jaw made for chewing through bone, the laughter collapsed into silence. The alien crumpled backward, writhing, as the slingshot pebble ricocheted through his helmet like a meteor in a glass dome. Silence. Then rage. The best snipers in the galaxy weren't used to humiliation, and yet here, on a barren training ground orbiting the gas giant Jorith, their pride had been shattered by a human holding nothing but a strip of leather and a rock picked off the floor. Commander Vexor's mandibles clicked furiously. His claws wrapped tighter around his plasma rifle. You dare mock us with toys? His voice carried the promise of vengeance. The human, Corporal Daniel Keene, late of Earth Special Forces, smiled the kind of smile that made predators pause. It's not the weapon that matters, he said evenly. It's the one holding it. The challenge escalates. The assembled sharpshooters raised their rifles. Vexor barked something in his native tongue, a guttural mix of hisses and growls. At once, 12 alien snipers spread out across the cliffs surrounding the arena, vanishing into shadows and ridgelines. Rules change, Vexor snarled. You survive the next hour against the galaxy's best, or you die. No more games. Daniel twirled the slingshot around his fingers, calm as if he were on a lazy summer afternoon in Texas, not standing against weapons capable of vaporizing his bones in a millisecond. His voice cut through the comm system still linked to the arena speakers. Good. Because now it's my turn to teach. First blood. The aliens believed themselves invisible. Their cloaks shimmered, their rifles hummed, their breath slowed to near zero. But humans had never needed perfect eyes to see their enemies. They had instincts, honed from millennia of being prey before they became apex predators. Daniel crouched low, pressed his hand to the dusty ground, and listened. A faint crunch echoed from the right ridge, subtle, masked, but not enough. He pulled a pebble from the dirt, loaded it, and fired. The stone vanished into the night. A half-second later, crack. A scream echoed as one sniper toppled from the ridge, cloak flickering, a smoking dent in his helmet where the pebble had struck. The alien's plasma rifle discharged wildly as he fell, spraying molten fire into the sky. The crowd of cadets behind the safety barrier gasped. The instructors whispered in disbelief, and Vexor's mandibles quivered with suppressed fury. The sniper hunt. The next hour turned into a nightmare for the galaxy's elite. One by one, Daniel moved silently through the jagged terrain, reading the land like an old hunter. Every vibration in the stone, every flicker of shadow, every reflection of starlight off a sniper's scope. He saw it all. Another pebble launched. This one skipped twice against rock before lodging itself directly into the breathing valve of a Valorian rifleman. The alien clawed at its throat, choking, as Daniel vanished behind cover. From the cliffs, a plasma shot sizzled past his ear, scorching the stone. The crowd gasped again, certain the human was finished. But Daniel had already moved, rolling across the dirt, loading another stone mid-motion. Whip crack. The pebble slammed into the shooter's rifle, shattering its power cell. The resulting explosion hurled the sniper from cover, smoking and broken. The cadets were no longer laughing. They were staring, terrified. Words that cut deeper. Over the comms, Daniel spoke, not for the snipers but for the students watching. His voice was calm, steady, the kind you'd expect from a teacher, not a soldier surrounded by enemies. You've been taught the myth of superiority, he said. That weapons define strength. That your rifles, your cloaks, your technology make you the best. But let me tell you something my grandfather taught me with a slingshot in the backwoods of Earth. It's never about the weapon. It's about the will to use it right. Vexor growled into the comms. You think this proves anything? You are one man against the galaxy. Daniel smirked as he leaned against a boulder, loading another stone. One man is all it takes if you underestimate him. Vexor steps in. The galaxy's best were falling, humiliated, and Vexor could no longer stand back. With a roar, he leapt from the observation platform, plasma rifle in hand, cloak shimmering like liquid night. His mandibles clicked in anticipation. The crowd of cadets and instructors scattered back, fear rippling through them. This wasn't part of the test anymore, this was vengeance. Daniel straightened, meeting the commander's approach with unshaken eyes. Finally, he muttered, a real challenge. Vexor's form blurred as he activated his cloak. 1 second he was visible, the next he was a ripple in the air. His footsteps were silent, his breath contained. He was the apex sniper, the killer of worlds. But Daniel didn't need to see him. He listened. He waited, and when a faint grain of sand tumbled down a nearby ridge, Daniel moved. Whip crack. The pebble shot into the air, striking something unseen. Sparks erupted as the cloaking field collapsed. Vexor appeared, stumbling as the stone ricocheted off his rifle's scope, shattering it. The crowd roared. Vexor screamed. The final standoff. Furious, the commander dropped his shattered rifle and drew a blade forged of plasmalite. He lunged, faster than most could track. Daniel ducked, rolled, and fired another stone into the commander's knee joint. The plasma blade slashed the air where Daniel had been a second before. Breathing hard, Daniel circled. Vexor limped, his mandibles dripping with fury. You will die, Vexor hissed. Daniel loaded his last stone. His hand steady despite the sweat dripping down his brow. He didn't speak this time. He simply pulled back, aimed, and let fly. The stone flew with perfect precision. It struck Vexor in the throat, right beneath the armored plating. The commander staggered, choking, collapsing to his knees as the plasma blade fizzled out. Silence blanketed the arena. Daniel exhaled slowly, wiping his brow. He looked at the cadets, at the instructors, at the stunned silence of beings who had never witnessed something so primitive destroy something so advanced. The lesson etched in fear. Daniel finally broke the silence. His voice was quiet, but it carried to every corner of the arena. Remember this day. Remember that it wasn't a rifle or a fleet or an empire that defeated you. It was a human with a slingshot and a handful of rocks. The galaxy isn't safe just because you have better weapons. You're never safe if you underestimate humanity. He dropped the slingshot onto the dirt with a soft thunk. Then he walked away, leaving the galaxy's best snipers staring at the simple weapon that had undone them. None of them laughed again. Epilogue. Echoes of a stone. News traveled fast. Within days, the story spread beyond the academy, beyond the system, across entire sectors of the galaxy. Whispers filled cantinas, barracks, and war councils. The galaxy's best snipers, beaten by a human with a slingshot. Some laughed nervously, hoping it was exaggeration. Most didn't laugh at all. For the first time, civilizations across the stars began to look at humanity not as prey, not as primitives, but as something far worse. Something that could take anything, and turn it into a weapon. And somewhere, Daniel Keen sat beneath the stars, whittling a new slingshot, smiling to himself, because he knew the truth. Humans didn't need the best weapons. They just needed the will.